Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with...
Stish Ram, and we doing Gravity Falls, son.
Oh, yeah, we are. There appears to be some problem with Blog Talk Radio, so we won't be playing the opening right now. But hey, we might play it at the ending. So basically, yes, we're doing Gravity Falls. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Gravity Falls, which had an amazing episode.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
wow.
one of them where it's really well done, and it proves that they had what they wanted in mind for so long that...
Yes.
And if they didn't, even more so, this is beautiful. But, you know, this episode was really a masterpiece of, like, animated television. And people can look at it and be like, that's a cop-out in a way. But really what it did is, with the memory erasing kind of ideal here, it opens the door to so much that now, like, people like Matt and myself who make up our theories, we're fucked. Because everything could be anything now. And
which is such a beautiful thing when you think about it. I mean, anything can be everything. You know, that's something that not a lot of shows can do. And it fits in with their universe in a way where it's not really that, you know, kind of deus ex machina. I believe that's the way to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's that kind of just, you know, no, I truly believe that it fits into their universe very well. Yeah, especially with the, you know, with the theories that we've been bringing up. Sorry to interrupt. We've brought up these theories a lot with the idea of this town seems overly stupid.
Yeah, and we've touched on this before. Like, why is everyone else not caring or not reacting? And that touches up in terms of the continuity and filling a hole for us. That's the good part. Where we sit there and it's like, now that all makes sense, like 100% sense. And also, like, in terms of, like, what I was saying about opening doors, like, let me give you an example. Like, people couldn't sit there and say, all right, Stan is the author. And people can now argue, like, based on the way that he reacted in Episode 1, Season 2, when the invisible ink thing, you know? Then they would argue, obviously Stan is not the author, because he learned that as Dipper and Mabel did. But now someone can make the argument that he had his freaking memory erased. Exactly.
There's a lot of amazing things that we can do now.
Anyway, it opens doors.
Yes.
But hey.
Yes, it does. So, hey, now everything seems to be working. We will do the Gravity Falls, and many other shows do. And we gave you our little blurb. Let's start off with the opening. All right?
Go for it.
Let's do this. So, yeah, we're back.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you. And you don't know why I hate you. But
why?
I'm sitting
why do you...
Okay. I have a pet bird. My pet bird reacts when there's light on because he thinks people are awake. So I said, you know what, tonight, let me try to silence him. I'm going to cut all the lights in my house.
I'm sorry.
I'm just going to sit in the darkness and do this podcast. So I sit down calmly in my pitch black room here, and I'm fine. And I'm just like, and I hear, and I'm like, Gravity Falls, this will be fine. And then it's like, Koyani Squatsi, I'm like, and nightmares. Okay, find the light now.
Well, now, if it makes, first off, I have to be honest with you. Just sitting there hearing that, I am in light, but that didn't help me. Like, it's just, you know, it gives you this sense of dread and doom. Now, what did I just play? That was from Eyes Wide Shut.
Ah, okay. I was like, it sounds familiar,
which
but
fits
it obviously
very
wasn't
well.
Falls.
If none of you have watched Eyes Wide Shut, by the way, definitely check that out.
Parody, Eyes Wide Slut.
Don't watch that. Although, then again, I don't know. Maybe it had a more... That movie
I've
had a better...
seen it. so I can't
Okay.
comment on Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay.
But
you could follow the plot better than in Eyes Wide Shut. Anyway, no, Eyes Wide Shut. There's a lot surrounding it, a lot of crazy conspiracy theories, and just a lot of different strange things surrounding the movie that we don't want to go into on this podcast because you don't want to die or have our memories erased. But what matters is that you can tell that the idea of this, we'll say it because it was basically shown, Illuminati type situation, really, was kind of. Either you could argue parodied or, an homage, whatever you want to call it, in this episode of Gravity Falls, which is why I immediately thought I had to play that, because it really just hit me like, wow, like you look at, and that's why I really enjoyed this episode, not because it's just so much like the adult movie, but that it was able to take some things that usually are very hidden, that you don't really see and are not really put out there. I mean, secret societies, yes. But I think not fairly recently, but still, very rarely is what I'll say. Do you see someone basically getting into a society that really does mimic an Illuminati type situation, or Freemasons, if you want to get a lot more technical?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, you can sit there and look at the secret society thing, and it's been hinted at with a lot of the cryptograms leading up to the season. Like, there is a secret society in Gravity Falls. And then,
right.
There are some things like old man sleeping on the green, can't help but wonder what he's seen, referring to McGucket. And, there's a lot of stuff that hints that McGucket has seen a lot of just pain and suffering or something tragic. And even, see, the beauty of this episode on top of that, we now confirm that he has seen that, but we don't know what it is yet. We are,
and neither does he, which
is
such a, it's a thing of beauty. I really, really, really enjoy this series thus far, and I enjoy that they are able to give us something definitive, yet, like you mentioned, open a door and still keep it open for another half of a season, if not another 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, this is something where, the show, we don't know how long the show's going to go. We constantly speculate. But something like this, a revelation like this, the way this episode plays out, kind of confirms to me that this is at least a 3-season show. And that was supposedly the idea, 3 seasons in a movie. And I'm good with that. I'm good. I could live with 3 seasons in a movie. And
what's something very interesting I want to ask you about is it's weird because something inside me wants to say, don't teach kids. When we watch WWE, we always talk about, think of the children. Don't teach kids that they should be able to use that thing. But at the same time, we really had to sit there and think, what were your other options? So I'm wondering, what do you think about that? The idea that, both Dipper and Mabel used the item on the people in the club.
Well, I think because, the society people were painted as villains because although they make the argument, and it's like that every villain in their own mind is a hero, right? So for them, they're like, we are saving them from suffering. But in reality, one, you're erasing their memories and basically lying to them. And or they are being lied to. And 2, as you notice with what they showed, the depreciation, like the destruction or the self-destruction, whatever you want to call it, of McGucket, it has negative effects when used too much. So it's not like it's safe to use this more than once. And Bud alludes to the idea that not only do they do this on themselves a lot, but they've been doing this for a long time. So it's something where you can look at it and say, all right, you use it on the villains, yes, because you basically turn them into normal people now. They're not able to do villainy anymore, and they're not dead and or fatally injured or something. On the flip side,
except for what was it, Toot
McBumbersnazzle.
Yes, Toot McBumbersnazzle, who I would argue that might be a problem, but. But that was a toss-away joke. But
he
was hilarious.
The important thing about the machine, though, is that when Mabel had a chance to use it on herself, they threw in that moral of the day thing, where it was like, look, we all have bad memories, but it's a lot more important to keep them and learn than erase them. So that was the good message for the kids. In terms of for the children, that was the message they put out there, and I think that was good.
Something that I think was very interesting as well, a few of the little things, and I'm sure places like the Gravity Falls Reddit, and other places on the internet caught it, but still, I don't know if you caught this. The idea that these people can be anyone, which is a very big reference when you bring up the idea of like, oh, the Illuminati or any of these secret societies, where it's like they could be anyone. If you want to pick on something that isn't the Illuminati, Hail Hydra, things like that, where it's like it could be anyone. It really focused on that here because these were people that we've seen before, but not regularly. But we've still seen them. We saw the guy who was the bouncer. I'm sorry, not the bouncer, but the guard at the door for the
the tattooed face guy.
Yes,
woodpecker guy.
Woodpecker guy, and we also saw the guy who basically was like, all right, pig, well, time to form a mob.
Yeah,
the pig guy.
He hates witches, which is alluded to in the cryptogram at the end of the episode.
Yes.
So that guy, old 15-poundy. Unknown woman.
But it's actually, I think that was kind of a joke. Because I don't know if you know this, the Freemasons are men only. There is a women's section that is women only, but it's mostly this male kind of patriarchy type situation. So I think that might have been the joke, where it's just, there are all these men and then a woman. Off to the side. And we sit there and we go, have we seen her before? That could have been kind of a joke in their eyes, in their head, where it's just like, it is all these men of power, mind you, that ones you don't really see often in the spotlight. Men of power that you don't see often in the spotlight. And then a lady. It was very interesting.
I actually didn't know for sure, so I'll that's a good thing for me to know.
Well, I assume if only because, obviously Hirsch has done his research. And, while there have been parties, of the elites, and, wearing, let's say, like the masks that you saw in Eyes Wide Shut, well, many saw. At the same time, those parties are a bit different than, let's say, situations where it's just a, kind of a worshiping ceremony, which don't involve ladies. Maybe in certain certain situations, of comfort, but not in one of power among the men.
Mm-hmm. Now that woman has showed up like once or twice before.
Okay.
In the show, I mean, the Wahia has like some recordings of when she showed up, but it's not like she has a moment of like, hey, like she had a line or like an actual. Right. So. It could have just been a throwaway, like, let's put someone else in there. But, yeah, like, I would have laughed if it was, like, Puma shirt, Panther shirt guy.
For some reason, I thought, what's-his-face was going to be in there. I can't believe I forgot his name, but just, the quote-unquote reporter.
Yeah, he was there. Toby Determined was there.
Thank you. Okay. I've already forgot. Oh, this is a problem. I've already forgot what I've seen in the episode. This may be an issue.
Yeah.
This may be an issue.
Toby Determined, which is still a, to be determined joke, which you know. But he was the first one.
Okay.
To unmask
my
himself.
brain was, you know why? My brain was trying to show me Toby, but it was giving me the pig guy. And I was like, oh, no, I'm getting confused.
Yeah, the old guy. He has a name, apparently, but I'm not really sure. Sprock.
I love him so much. Just, you know what? I'm not going to be. Like, when the rope came off, just like,
I'm not ashamed of it. He's like, you should be ashamed for being prudes. I was like, God, can you say that on Disney?
What do we do? Prudes, yes, I think. It's other things that they did that I was very confused about. First off, the overall idea of the episode was interesting because, there's nothing wrong with saying secret society. It's weird when you give them the robes and then the eye thing.
Yeah,
that symbol specifically is very strange.
Immediately when this episode started, I was like, what's going on? And then, and this is one thing, that's throughout the episode is really cool because I was reading the post of one of the artists who did some of like half of the art for this episode. And, and
they
the animation,
died mysteriously.
No, and he was talking about, which could happen actually, but he was talking about the idea that, like, in the beginning of the episode, it was a lot of dark and fogginess, and then, like, as you go to McGucket originally, it's a shady area, dark colors to make you feel unclear, uncomfortable, and then, like, towards the rest of the episode, brighter colors, more energy, and stuff like that in certain spots, and it's just the idea of, like, you should feel how the colors in the scene make you feel. And so,
wait, I'm confused. Wait, so you're telling me that that's a quote?
Essentially,
like that's
I can find you the quote.
No, you don't understand. That's exactly what. Wow, I can't believe I forgot his name. I love him. Director of The Shining, director of Eyes Wide Shut.
Stanley Kubrick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kubrick. That's what he did with Eyes Wide Shut.
First time that I got
he
something
relied heavily.
I think you watched the episode too much.
Yeah, I know. I think I have. No, he relied. I have it playing on the background right now just to make me remember everything. But then I might forget it right after. Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, right? Just degeneration. I was going to play that. I was going to get let's get ready to make sucker. Which is
it makes sense. So that's a Stanley Kubrick. Here we go. I found the quote here actually, because so his name is Jeffrey Thompson, and he's one of the people on the art board. And it says, here are my contributions to the episode. This episode was another big part of an ongoing narrative reveal for Season 2, and I wanted to make sure that the paint reflected that. This episode sheds a lot of light on previously blurry and unexplained aspects of the show and characters. I thought it'd be interesting if I kept the lighting to mirror that, so I chose to keep the paint on the cold open very dark and foggy, light only shed on specific details, leaving lots to the imagination. Then we move to McGucket's yard. The fog is thick and dense surrounding this character and his environment, but we'll begin to see some sunlight breaking through clouds as the next clue has led them to the new location. Eventually, as we get to the museum, the sun has actually made its way out and is shedding light directly onto the building, where new information and character development is revealed for the first time.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Kubrick tried to do with his Eyes Wide Shut film.
And
a lot of it was...
It's nice, isn't it? It's good thinking.
If you remember... That. Yeah, if you remember the movie, a lot of it, the only light that you don't really see light when it comes to the darkness, when it comes to the underbelly. So when things are involved with, Tom Cruise's character and the underbelly of, quote unquote underbelly of the society and everything, there aren't really any lights there. But then when he's on the surface, if you will, with, let's say with Nicole Kidman at the party, or he's at home or everything, the light is there and everything is used, like the cameras and everything. Think Wizard of Oz. Like the dream state. And then when he is down there underground, everything is like perfect. There's no filters or anything, and it's very clear, the camera shots and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can really come to appreciate the art on this show. And what I was originally swinging around is the idea of so the cold open, we start there, and it's just this dark, dreary night, and I'm like, all right, what's going on? And Susan closes up, and gnomes. And it was weird for me because I was like, at that moment, I'm like, well, what's going to happen? Because I sat there and thought, the normal folk don't really notice the shit that Dipper and Mabel, and of course us as the viewer
By the way, loved that it was the same gnomes. I think what I enjoyed the most about this episode is their ability to just have these callbacks and everything. I mean, pausing it right now, right near McSucket, when the kids were, preparing it, is a Pit Cola.
That still makes me laugh.
Yes, it does. Is a Pit Cola thing behind a billboard behind one of the car doors. It just says Pit, and I just like all of the little throwbacks that they just throw in there. You look at what's it called? You look at the gnomes, and they were all the same gnomes, and they all had the same voices. Yes, the main one was done by Alex Hirsch, but still, the idea of just the gnomes are back.
It's the same gnomes. It's not like a random thing. It's just the same gnomes because they exist in Gravity Falls, and they're not dead, so why not use them? And so that's awesome, in terms of that logic. And so I sat there and thought, what's going to happen? What is she going to do? And she flips out, and she goes to report it. And that was interesting for me, where I'm like, she reports it to 31. That makes sense logically. But I was like, something's not going to work here. And then as soon as I think that, bam. And they lead into the
I was shocked because I knew...
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It is unseen. I was like, what?
Yeah, I freaked out. I was so excited. This entire episode made me excited. Bit after bit after bit. And I think also another good thing about all the not even little references, because when Robbie came on, that wasn't a small reference. That was a reference that basically told you, hey, guess what? Even when you think it's filler, it's not filler.
Yeah, and not even just the whole is it filler aspect, but it implies that everything that has happened could have potentially been forgotten by everyone.
Oh, yeah, which is why every single episode, I mean, there's a reason why, other than, I guess, Wendy, Because, well, actually, you know what I have to say? The one thing, although before I even say that, man seen eating raccoon. Son offers no comment. That is the
those were the
article.
The
behind
newspaper article.
Local coot continues downward slide. But anyway, so my question to you is, do you think that it's a little bit strange that the Society of the Blind Eye did not go after them sooner when they go after everyone else?
Well, for me,
looks of it, right.
I mean, it is definitely interesting because
that's the only thing that I want to pick up.
With Wendy and Seuss, in my head, I think that because do you remember in the first episode of Gravity Falls when Dipper's freaking out about like her, Mabel being like potentially dating like a zombie?
Right.
And Dipper's like, how many brains have you... Seuss is like, how many brains have you seen him eat? And Dipper's like, none. And he's like, look, I believe you, but, there's some weird things that go on in this town, but no one will believe you if you don't have proof. And it implies to me that, like, Seuss knows all this shit in terms of what goes on, but he doesn't say anything. So
yes,
the society won't seek you out unless you say anything.
Right, I assume, yes. I mean, because again, arguably, right, the society is not all-knowing. It's just there are people...
they're not.
Okay.
I mean,
fair enough.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, of course it does. Yes, of course it does. No,
I assume that they're not all-knowing because it doesn't seem like they have cameras or anything like that, but just the fact that Susan used a public telephone to telephone a public line. Yes. It just seemed like you could make the argument that because she was trying to make a report about it, they were after her. Like, Wendy and Seuss, I think you can argue, don't talk about it, or if they talk about it, it's only to Dipper and Mabel. And
yes.
I assume that Dipper and Mabel, because they're, like, children with very little connections, that they're passed off as, like, non-threats.
Right, to Gravity Falls' security. Because, although it's strange because, again, you look at what they say and you would think that they, wanting to just protect everyone naturally, would have taken them out sooner. But I still agree with what you mean, where if you don't say anything, they may not know that you've seen anything. And also, you look at Seuss and he's probably seen Eyes Wide Shut. So, he knows what goes down. He's like, nope, I'm out, right? And you look at Wendy and with her survivalist nature, with her dad and everything. I mean, maybe her dad, because it's weird, because her dad, something about me thinks like he would just basically try to take a bat to it and then have his memories erased. Where Wendy, where Wendy is just, okay, I'm going to really think about this before I do it.
Yeah, and she implies that, she keeps a lot of things internalized because... Which
is smart, I guess. It
makes sense.
Only in this
because,
case.
She says, like, of course, I'm stressed out all the time. Have you seen my family? And it makes sense. So it kind of feeds the idea that she doesn't really talk about the crazy things she sees because she tries to stay away from all stress.
Right. Also, I would like to mention something. There's a newspaper that I did not notice my first time around right next to the funny one. And it says, disoriented man found at museum. And
that's the one McGucket uses to point out where he last had a memory.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And then underneath it, apparently, there's just a picture of a deer. And it says, slow news day.
Yeah, which is hilarious. But,
yes.
That's the one because Wendy asked him, like, what's the first
for
memory
some reason
you remember?
In my head.
And
for some reason in my head it was, he took it out of a trunk. It was like, no, he didn't.
No, that was the one that he used.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of little things in this episode like that where, I don't know, like, I went from kind of, like, apathetic to the McGucket character to kind of feeling for him now. Like, really feeling for him. And at the same time, I mean, Stan was basically not involved in this episode at all, outside of the credits scene, which we'll touch on later. But it just...
Which is scary.
It's weird because, like, all right, because, I can make up theories for the main four in terms of Dipper, Mabel, Seuss, and Wendy. There's nothing to make me think that Stan hasn't at least once been hit by that ray.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Which is kind of scary.
It is. Yeah, no, it really is, because it's just how much, now
lots of people have been hit by that ray. You saw in that room. Miss Gideon's mom's name is there. Pacifica's there. Pacifica's dad is there.
Yes. What I find very interesting is why they weren't in the club. Because obviously you think, oh, it could be anyone, but you also always have someone who has a lot of money, which makes me wonder who that person really was, the one that we've never seen before.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll never get
blue?
confirmation.
The lady in blue?
No. The actual Ivan, I believe.
Blind Ivan. Yeah, which is a pun,
Blind
by the
Ivan,
way,
thank you.
which kind of pisses me off.
Of course.
Ivan.
Blind Ivan. Yes, I know.
I was like,
I loved it. I still was wondering about him because we've never seen him before, and now we'll never know anything about him.
Oh, and I love that line, by the way. You've never met me before, and even if you had, you wouldn't remember. I was like, fuck,
yes.
That was good. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That kind of, that is some, villainry right there. That's the kind of line where I sit there, I'm like, that is a good line, where he's right.
You want to know it's a good, accurate, and somewhat disturbing joke in this show?
What?
Romance in Settlers' Times.
Yeah, no, that kind of made me chuckle a little bit. I was like, fuck, that's terrible.
That's the thing, like that. And then, although I really enjoyed Gabe, Master of Puppets. He'll pull your heartstrings. It's just, you know what? Screw that guy. Several
what
times.
About, they should have removed that terrible mascara. She's trying her best, Zeus. I think she looks beautiful. I laughed. Like,
okay, I guess I hit a nerve there.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it. That made me laugh, and honestly, McGuckin's ham boning killed me.
Yes.
He cursed.
I have to... What?
He cursed.
Yes, he did. That's another one. But I kind of understood it. It happens. I think the Settlers' Time thing freaked me out. Made me go oh. And I have to say, that one with he should have removed that mascara. I have to be honest, that both Wendy and Mabel saying that, it was so beautiful because it's so accurate of what would happen in a situation. A man, not always, but I feel like from some of the situations that I've seen in my life, right, a man would make a joke that is funny. It's not like it's not funny. It's funny. But then the two women will come and defend the women. Of course, I love Mabel so much, by the way. Just I'm getting married to this manatee to stop the war, and she's so beautiful.
I laughed at the whole just the general idea of he's marrying the queen of the manatees to stop a civil war underwater. That's definitely going to be an episode in the future.
You know what that reminds me of? Very much so. Kind of an Aquaman thing. That most definitely Aquaman. No, and I love, by the way, how the manatee's like, I am looking at the camera. I am the manatee. And Raimondo's like, this is going to... Right, but anyway, so Mabel being the kind of person it's so beautiful, right? She's so beautiful. And then later on, it's just, I think she looks beautiful. And then Wendy being older, understanding, she only has, kind of one working eye-ish. So it's just she's doing the best she can. And Zeus is like, my bad?
Yeah, no, that kind of made me chuckle. Where I was like, that's a good... I mean, it was handled well. Because...
Yes.
And so that was amusing. McGuckin's ham boning was amusing. There was a lot of things that I just found just
eyes
funny.
Were great because bringing up what you've mentioned, right, the idea of they've been playing this for a long time. These eyes were in the opening.
Yep.
Actually, does Stan have eyes in his Mystery Shack or no? Or is it just in the opening?
No, he does. Well, I assume that he does because I know it's in the opening. But
I believe he had a jar of eyes, which does make you think, did Stan not attend that meeting?
I am losing my mind right now tonight, by the way, because continuing the theory of me sitting here in the dark, after your opening that caught me off guard, I decided to turn on my TV in the background to give me a little, calming moment.
Yes.
I turned over to see what was on the TV, and it was a blank black screen with one line of white text, and I flipped, where I was like, and my TV is possessed. It said starting at $17,900. It was an ad for a car. But the moment that I looked had to be pure blackness and one line of text. In my head, I'm like, I know too much. I'm sorry.
So you're telling me that is over 9,000?
Yes, I can confirm.
Okay. You
That's
can
an
confirm.
expert.
Okay, cool. And also over 8,000 technically. So
yeah.
fair enough.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going on right now, and it's just the episode, and it's just I love that they're able to just click on anything, but it does make things a bit scarier, and you can see how it's a prototype because just you know what I mean, like you put in random words, like what if I was going to say, let me forget John Cena's title reign. We're talking about WWE here, everyone. No one likes John Cena unless you're 5. I'm kidding. But, either way, John Cena, guy who's like head of the top of the company, you probably have seen him somewhere. Some of you have seen him as Fred's dad. If we want to say, I want to forget John Cena's latest title reign, right, and you click that into how does it know? You know what I mean? Like, it could easily just erase all of your memories of John Cena, which, yeah, you might think that's a good thing, Satish. But once we do our show next week for Raw, you sit there and you're like, who's this new guy? You know what I mean? Like, you could forget all of the title reigns that he's ever had.
No, that's the thing. The machine isn't detailed as to, like, how well it works. And, like, you never find out what exactly McGucket typed in to remove from his mind. And the rundown of his memories, it was weird. Because when you saw the one for, like, Robbie, right? It was like as if you were standing there watching, like, Robbie's, interrogation. Like, you sat there just like, tell us, Robbie, what have you seen? And I loved, Robbie, speak honestly.
I died. Just that totally kicked its butt. Robbie, speak honestly. Like, come on,
I was saved by a 12-year-old. And I laughed because I was like, how did they know? But, it was a thing where, okay, so it was like a camera looking, like, straight at Robbie,
Yes.
For McGucket, it was different because it looked like it was like a video diary. So it was almost like McGucket's memories were being erased of him watching his video diary.
Yes. Well, I would argue that he was a scientist, therefore he kept the video diary as a test subject as well as I really want to forget. And he would turn it on each and every whatever day. But he would probably forget even how to use it for a while or not even want to use it. But then go, wait a minute, I have that experiment thing going.
Oh, and
like, arguably.
Referencing this now, by the way, I should get it out of the way. In his last clip, where it says date ? He speaks in cipher and essentially says, like, Bill Cipher, help, and then makes the sign for the triangle in the eye. Like, he tenses his fingers and does it over one eye.
That's why he did that. Okay.
Yeah, so he tenses his fingers and does it over one eye, and he basically says, help Bill Cipher. And so one can't help but wonder what exactly Bill has had to do with all of this stuff. But obviously, he hurt the author because the author went from, hey, this is a friendly guy, to do not trust him at all and never summon him at all costs. And McGucket himself seems to have had some kind of interaction with him. And obviously he's had some kind of interaction with Stan.
Yes. I would argue, while we have no way of making theories anymore, because damn it, fuck everything, right?
Yeah.
I would argue that it could have been a situation where it's just, you know what, Bill, I want to see just, the cool things in the world. I want to see so much. And, and Bill goes, oh, well, sure. And basically opens this floodgate.
Yeah,
and because of Bill, it's just like, great, now we have monsters here. Damn it. Something like that.
There's definitely the idea that maybe he wanted to use this portal to open up, like, avenues for mankind. But all it did was end up opening a portal for supernatural things to enter this world. And, ideally, there is always a logic. For me, I'm one of the believers in the Stan has a twin theory. And, I still, because it's not like these things have changed in terms of, like, his name is Stanford and it's the Stanley Mobile. There's an unused room with an unused pair of glasses that are not his. The flashback flashes back to someone that's animated differently facially than him. The boxing flashback shows someone with his exact same character model in the back reading a book. Things like that. So I want to believe that Stanley, if we're going, assuming that his name is Stanley just for the sake of it, since Stan's name is Stanford and Stanley Mobile, wrote the books. And ideally, or hypothetically rather, that he gets caught in this portal and he's gone. after all these supernatural monsters were coming to Gravity Falls. And it makes sense to me in terms of, like, McGucket helped Stanley, and that McGucket stayed with them in the house. Because there's always the theory that, Stanley was the previous owner of the Mystery Shack, and that he lived there.
Right.
And so you can make the argument that McGucket lived with him at the time since he was an assistant, and things like the carpet, like Carpe Diem and all that, were his inventions.
Right. There's a lot. I mean, it could be, Stanley could have been the guy above McGucket, or it could have been Bill, and it could have just been his way of kind of saying it's a foreigner. You know what I mean? It's someone out of town. It could have been him summoning Bill and basically saying, like, oh, yeah, some guy out of town. Because the idea, some might say, well, why didn't you just mention Bill? You don't want people to know about Bill. You don't want to think, wait a minute, this guy just grants wishes and shit? Hell yeah, I want to meet this guy. Let's summon him. Just no.
And it's just...
when you look at Bill, you want it to be, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, you want it to be a Nightmare on Elm Street situation. Like, if you remember Freddy, it gives him power. So, and don't even mention that fucker. Just leave it, alone.
No,
anyway,
I'm there with you. Because I can't, it's a kid's show, technically, Gravity Falls, right? But
technically.
I can't get over this whole idea, McGucket just turning on the video diary. It's like, my name is Fiddleford Hadron McGucket, and I'd like to forget what I have seen. Like, I think it's a really powerful, just a simple line, but powerful. Because as an adult, mind you, as an adult and a scientist, not like Mabel saying, I want to forget my summer romances. This is a successful scientist and researcher. Like, can you imagine saying to me, like, Satish, I want to forget what I have seen, and going so far as to creating a device that will do that for you? That's the amount of pain that he's in. That not only did he claim, I want to forget, but he created a device to forget. That's the length he was ready to go because of the pain he was in. And that really makes me think and wonder. And I'm intrigued. I can't help it.
Man, it's just, And I mean, and speaking of some of the stuff we've seen in this episode, how did you feel when you actually saw the room where all the memories were stored? Because personally, I'm still a little bit nervous watching it right now. It seems as if it's an altar. With the Virgin Mary mixed with, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I think
what was amazing about that was just the just sheer amount of tubes that are in that room. And, we only see flashes of a little bit, and some names that we don't know as well.
Right, and it's just some crazy stuff, and also just some nice stuff. Let's stick to a few nice things. The fact that they had that scene with Wendy and Mabel, and Wendy was basically saying, "Hey, Mabel, you're just fine the way you are. Don't change." That was nice. And that was
Wendy in this episode was nice. Not only because of the fact that I like when she's a part of the group, because I like Wendy as a character.
Right.
And it moves her up from, quote-unquote, Dipper's love interest. Since that little thing has resolved. Do you keep her in the storyline? Yes, because she's a useful and awesome character. So kudos to that. And
teenage
just generally,
girl. Yeah, because I'm sorry to interrupt, you give Mabel teenage girl, so you give the girls watching a teenage girl, and you give the boys watching, not a teenage boy, but, you give them a Dipper. I'm sorry, you give them a
Dipper, and then a quote-unquote man-child.
Give them, yes, this is what you could become. Don't watch cartoons when you're older.
But it's good because Wendy's a useful character, and this was proven in something like Into the Bunker, where before even the romance thing, she's just really useful, dangerous, athletic, survivalist, as you called her. So she's useful, and also in the sense that as a friend to Mabel, she is an older female, and Stan is around for Dipper in case something like that would happen. Like, it hasn't been implied because Dipper's pretty mature, but it just seems like, hey, Stan's there. There is a father or at least an older man figure there. And Seuss is there, too, as an older figure. Mabel doesn't have an aunt there. And she also seems to be struggling with this romance thing. So it makes sense. Wendy serves a purpose, at least there, at the very least, in the sense that, hey, she's someone that, I can relate to, looking through Mabel's eyes.
Yes. There's so much good in this episode. I mean, so that was, of course, wonderful. And it was just, as the episode keeps on going, there was, a few other interesting things. The idea that Bill, while he could have technically made the society with, as I mentioned, he could have worked with, McGucket, right? And made McGucket, think, I want to forget this. But he wasn't directly responsible, meaning that he wasn't directly responsible as in, forget everything, McGucket, right? Like, it wasn't that kind of idea. It's McGucket taking it into his own hands, and it's also the idea that, which I think was such a beautiful thing. The Society of a Blind Eye going, remember our leader? Wait, actually, we don't. We've done this so many times.
Gravity Falls is so aces with their foreshadowing type jokes and stuff.
Yes.
That, when you go back and watch an episode a second time, you realize how masterful, like, for example, like right off the top of my head, Season 2, Episode 1, what's the one thing I asked you not to do, Dipper? Raise the dead. And what did you do? Raise the dead. So, like, stuff like that where, so for this one, it's great because it's like, we don't remember who our leader is. And you'll sit there and be like, that's funny. That's a one-off liner. And then it's like, no, the leader's right there. The creator, the one who made this, is right there. And that's amazing.
And it's interesting also to see that he came through for them, but only in this case. Where if you would pop a McGucket anywhere else, he would probably do nothing. But you plop a McGucket in this situation, one that he may not realize that he's been through before in the sense that, he made that machine, right? He knows these people, right? Because I don't think they've been doing this for that long. I mean, 20 years isn't a long amount of time, fair enough, but they're old enough that some of them could still, have been with the group from the beginning.
Yeah.
Not all, but some.
Which is also something I wanted to touch on real quick, not even just the length of it, but when you understand the entire episode, right?
Right.
Going back to the scene where McGucket takes the quote-unquote bullet for Dipper, and starts taking those blasts.
I felt so bad.
It's kind of sad when you think about it now, right?
Oh, no, I was sad immediately. Because I picked it up immediately. The idea that, because that doesn't happen from one, a lot of Gravity Falls is stupid, but it doesn't happen from just one flash.
Okay, no, I'm with you. Okay. For me, it took me until the end in rethinking, where I was my God, he has used that thing on himself so many times that it has been rendered ineffective.
Yes.
He has deteriorated his brain. Just
his Blaine?
His Blaine. Also,
shout out to. Are we just going to do name shout outs to our fans via puns?
No, she's actually asleep. But
anyway,
he's messed with his brain so much that
and it's very sad, very sad.
That's what I'm saying. It is sad. His character is hurtful.
I'll make you feel better. I'll make a joke. You'll feel better. Dysentery's gonna get you, dude.
Yeah, that was great. It was typical Seuss humor, and that was fun. Straight up fun.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna make a reference to the song that I've been singing all day.
Which song?
Girl, I'm blanching. I'm straight blanching. I live up in a mansion.
Thank you. You reminded me.
Oh my God!
Yes,
dude.
you are correct. You are correct. That is the voice actor for the African American Blues.
for Blubs, but it still makes me laugh. Wendy's infuriating response to it made me so happy.
Little Big Dog.
Yeah, Little Big Dog.
Yeah. Oh my God. By the way, I laughed a bit too hard when Mabel's just she scratches off knowledge, butts.
I laughed at that. I don't care what anybody says.
I laughed a bit too hard. You know why, too? I laughed a bit too hard because not only is it just butts, but it's the idea that you look at that and you're just that's the butt center of the brain.
Yeah, no, because his tattoo is really kind of cool. Also,
I would want them.
Did you notice his misspelled tattoo, or
his what?
His misspelled tattoo.
No.
Okay. So right before, and I don't think anyone's really picked up on this. I mean, it's mentioned, but I don't know if anyone's got the screenshot as much. But right before he's about to blast the group with the guns, before McGucket comes in to save them, around the back of his head, the back center, it should say reflex, and it says Rex or Relax. So it's spelled wrong. And one of the things in the ending cryptogram, the ending cryptogram. Let me see if I have that accessible to me. I don't know if you do.
Yes, sadly do not. But please get that up while I'm talking. I do not. But get it to me while.
I like that. You're just like, sadly, yes, nope. I actually don't.
No, because usually I do. Oh.
Yeah, no, I've got you here, actually.
Okay.
But there are a few cryptograms in this episode, and we can just throw them out there because we're winding down here. But okay, so in the Journal 3, near the blind eye, that freaks out, there's a set of symbols. And if this translates correctly, I love this. If my suspicions are correct, this is the work of Fiddleford. Does he really have to go to such great lengths to forget?
Wow.
It's on the Society of the Blind Eye page.
Interesting. So, someone else had to have written that.
Yeah, that's the author wrote that. Towards the ending credits, the one where Stan has his scene, which is basically him just, losing his... Oh, we'll talk about that in a second, actually. Let me get through the cryptograms. The credits cryptogram is ignorance is bliss, but bliss is boring. Mm-hmm. And the end page, which is the one with the ray gun, says, Gideon's tantrums, misspelled tattoos, Chandra's rejections, society's views, a fear of witches, a life of regret. These are the things that they try to forget. And it essentially references everybody in the...
Dude, Gideon's mom.
Well, no, Gideon's dad is there, dude.
No, but do you understand about... That's what I'm saying. Gideon's mom is just so...
She's freaked out and, nuts because she probably has had that used on her too many times.
Yes. That is insanity. Oh, my God. I love this show. Oh,
I know.
My God. I love this show.
It's one of those things you look back and it's like, that even makes more sense now.
Especially the idea that his dad is just so calm all the time.
Which makes sense.
Because to him, it's probably he says oh, he's fine, but in his head, he's probably just my son doesn't throw tantrums that often.
Right.
He's just such a good little boy. And it's just every single time a bunch of them happen, it's I'm going to forget that. I'm going to forget that. And he's just so calm. A lot of people in Gravity Falls up until now just seem so complacent.
And it makes sense now because you saw the result of the ray on Susan, where she just was like, yay! And it was wow. It was kind of eerie. And so just referring to that cryptogram real quick, Gideon's tantrums, but gleeful. Misspelled tattoos refers to Blind Ivan. Chandra's rejections is Toby determined because Chandra Jimenez. Society's views is Woodpecker guy. A fear of witches is, old 15 Poundy. And a life of regret is likely, we assume it to be McGucket. Yeah. And I guess that's kind of sad. Because, and I mentioned before I guess on a happier note, during the credits, that cryptogram that popped up, we see in that scene that Stan loses to the portal his question mark mug, his notebook, and his pen. And I pointed this out to you earlier, Matt, but where does this pop up?
Apparently in a show that I love, Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're not shitting you here, people. Rick and Morty, yeah. You don't know about that show? It's a show on Adult Swim that kind of seems like a very interesting... It seems like a funny kind of loosely based thing of let's say, Back to the Future with, Dr. Emmett Brown and, Marty McFly, except the differences are, Emmett Brown is really a crazy, sometimes drunk scientist who just will make the most, insane things. And his grandson, Morty, is, this kid who goes on adventures with him and travels with him through the universe. But again, it's just very weird stuff. Rick is just great, and is, always sitting there just, hey, Morty, Morty, can we just go now, Morty, come on. Just always burping, by the way, always fucking burping. So yeah, now tell them why this would happen in some random show on Adult Swim.
Yeah, because you might sit there and think Disney, Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, not related. And no, they're not exactly directly related. But the co-creator of Rick and Morty actually does voices, or at least two voices, one of them for a commercial and stuff, but one main voice on Gravity Falls, which is Blendon Blandon. And
yes,
Blendon Blandon happens to be a featured character in the next episode up, Blendon's Game, which is a reference to Ender's Game, so that made me kind of happy. But, yeah, so Blendon comes up in the next episode, so the credits of this one feature Stan losing his question mark coffee mug, his pen, and his notebook. And if you don't believe us, you can actually look to the Rick and Morty episode. It's like Into the Rickscape or something, like the Rick Adventures.
Yes. Oh, yes, no, basically there was an episode where it was him and all the other Ricks, right? That's what it was? Yeah, because they make a joke, which, you think it's like a one-off joke or something, but it's a real thing in the episode itself. It's a society of Ricks that have basically come together. Oh, think about that, society of Ricks in this episode. Society of Ricks, because in every single universe, a Rick has a Morty. Right? So in every single universe, he has his sidekick, and it's something like that. And, and all the Ricks have come together in a way, like how, let's say in comic books, you're like, oh, that's that version of this character, that's, this universe's version of that character. They've all come together for the goodness of the universe, if you will, and of other Ricks and Mortys. Anyway, so what matters is that, and what's even cooler is that in that episode, you also see a Rick and Morty from another universe that we thought we forgot. That was from a random one-off episode. The one where you saw it, the one where they all turn into, like, whatever creatures or something. But anyway.
Yeah, I actually did see the Mindscape episode, and I think it was,
yes.
It's funny because I just remember the whole bunch of Ricks and this scene with the portals. And
yes.
So, it is an
and a mug
Easter egg.
Comes through it.
It's just like a fun little thing. But if you watch that episode again, and this is, what I was saying to Matt is it's proof that they knew what they were doing for such a long time, because that Rick and Morty episode aired quite a while ago, wouldn't you say? Or
yes, but what I would also like to add to it, of course they know what they're doing for a long time, but I'd also like to add to it that I'm sure there's a chance that this would have, the timing would have been a bit better. Not perfect,
right,
obviously, but
because
a bit better.
Because of that huge hiatus that
huge
Disney
hiatus.
put on Gravity Falls.
Yeah. You look at, I think maybe a couple months from now, and you're going to get Rick and Morty Season 2 back on Adult Swim. I mean, recently it came out on DVD, the first season, which is also kind of nice because in a way, if you've bought the season, you can rewatch the episodes. But compared to airing, you could definitely see this being at least maybe a couple weeks or a month or two after the episode to still have it be in fans' minds. Because as of right now, it's just something that would, went over my head, obviously. Because why would I think that a mug would have anything to do with Rick and Morty in any way? Of course, again, they're not only are they friends, by the way, which is also very nice. Because I don't know if you mentioned Alex Hirsch and this actor, they're very good friends. Right?
Yes, they are.
Who, by the way, Blendon Blandon isn't like it's just, oh, yeah, he's just a co-creator of, Rick and Morty. No, just like Hirsch, which, I guess talent attracts talent. Just like Hirsch, he does a lot of voices in his series himself. He does Rick and Morty. So he does basically this character where, the grandfather is like, yeah, Morty, right, just burping all the time. And then he does his grandson where it's like, hey, Rick, I'm not too sure I understand or I agree with what you're doing. Right, and then you can see some of that in Blendon Blandon as well, where he just sits there and he's like, I'm Blendon Blandon, and you're like, wow, I can see where you've, but it only had to take you, to bring it up, because for me, I guess, even though I'm very good with voices, I think it's just, as many do, you kind of separate, where it's like, this person works on kids stuff, this person doesn't, and, and the stuff that you might see where, lines get separated are people like Billy West, Tom Kenny, what else, Mark Hamill, sometimes those get set, the lines get pushed with them. Mark Hamill being on NTSF SDSUV, which involved, he was a killer dolphin, a bit like Hannibal. So like, you'll see stuff like, you'll see stuff like that. I'll be like, okay, yeah, this is this person, doing something else. But you don't really see something like someone who you're going, yeah, no, that's just Adult Swim. That's just a guy that, I know created something that's very adult. You don't see that jumping into Gravity Falls. Or at least in my head I did, something on Disney. So it really was off to me.
I don't sit there, and I would never try to connect the two. This is not a connection that I made. I was luckily able to see this through the wonderful community on Reddit. So I want to thank Reddit, Gravity Falls for this one. But it's just crazy because I sit there and it's like, wow, you guys are crazy observant. And two, what a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah. What I'm wondering now is, and we haven't really touched upon this, what has Stan done? Because now that I just saw, as we're really having to wind this down, I saw Dipper, with the notebook open, looking at the machine that we see on the screen with McGucket.
Right.
Oh, which, by the way, I feel really sad because now you're looking at it. Now that it's muted, I can really notice in the background. And you see something like day 22. And, of course, you see, like, the stuff that McGucket has written, which, okay, understandable, the I, whatever, he came up with that symbol. But he erased his good notes. He has, like, a black handprint on the wall. Like, you can really tell that it's just becoming more and more disheveled.
Yeah, it's just this amazing
day
portrayal.
74. Yeah, you get it. But day 22 was really sad.
It's amazing portrayal of, like, the self-destruction and how...
Yeah.
A beautiful lab where he just has and he knew, you saw the thing in the background that relates to the machine. You can see that it says, I think it's failure and time.
Yes, it says the idea of higher probability.
Instability
and
time.
instability.
Basically,
yes.
As time goes along, there's a more likely chance that this is going to become unstable.
Yes. The machine.
And it just so much of this stuff hit me. And I'm more involved in this series emotionally than I was before. And that's saying something because I really liked it intellectually, and just sitting there like, wow, this is an incredible show. I will follow this to the ends of the earth. Just give me a reason to keep watching. And
this
now it gives me this emotional thing where now I'm more emotionally attached because I want to find out what happened that he needed to forget. And, what is Stan hiding? What is Stan doing with that portal? Like, is it, you can sit there and argue like, hey, the portal allows you entry into these, like, other universes because, hey, it went to the Rick and Morty thing. But, I mean, I can also sit there and argue, like, what if the portal allows you to something like the Mindscape in terms of, like, what Bill can do?
Yeah, there's just, I don't know what is available.
Because if it can, I mean, what if that's it? Where, like, these supernatural things, they're not really real, but they're just the fictional fears of rational men and women. And
that would be so interesting.
Because you sit there and it's like, a lot of these things aren't particularly nice, quote unquote. Right. And not to say that they can't be.
And some of them are. Like, some of them are gnomes.
Yeah, but you look at things like the leprechaun, and it's like, could that not be something that someone had imagined in the Mindscape and it became real?
That's saying,
that's a personal theory for me. That's
no,
one of
I
the
understand
things
that completely. Yeah. No, and we have to end it like now. But I mean, it's just such a beautiful thing. The only scary thing that I feel about the show that's scary is 1, if it gets canceled, right? 2, if Alex Hirsch dies mysteriously, or 3, if everything works out very well, but Alex Hirsch did sell a soul to the devil. So we get an amazing show out of it. But, at the end of the day...
At this point, all I'm hoping for is a non-Twin Peaks-like thing. I need it to finish. I need to...
Well, let's hope it doesn't end...
I need my closure.
Alex Hirsch will make a joke about it at the end of season 2. He'll be like, it has been canceled. But anyway, because Twin Peaks, as you know. But it's okay. We'll get more Gravity Falls years later.
But I need my closure right now. I'm invested.
I understand. So quickly, tell everyone about our Pokemon giveaway. Sadly, we have to, change topics so quickly, but Pokemon giveaway.
Yeah, no problem, boss. Real quick, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. Follow us on Tumblr, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. And if you share the post about this giveaway on Facebook, reblog it on Tumblr, or retweet it on Twitter, you have a chance to win something from us personally. The set, we are giving out one of a set to each of the 6 winners of shiny, spooky Pokemon for the month of October in honor of Halloween.
Yes.
They're trained for battle, so good IVs and a beneficial nature. And again, they are shiny. So you have stuff like Chandelure, Trevenant up for grabs. And all you have to do is help promote us, help get the word out about us, and we will reward you in return.
Yes, and the posts are on our Tumblr, thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com, on our Facebook, Those Guys on the Radio, / Those Guys on the Radio, or just Those Guys. You can search up, and on Twitter, Those Guys Radio. Our name is Professor Oak because of Pokemon that we're giving away. Now, you can only win once, but by finding the posts, and liking them or sharing them, depending on the social media network, you can get more chances to win that one Pokemon. So definitely check us out, and thank you guys for listening in to Gravity Falls, Society of the Blind Eye.